North Korea has issued yet another set of apocalyptic threats as the rogue state refuses to back down in the face of war games between the U.S. and South Korea. An official newspaper has quoted a war veteran vowing to rain bullets on the enemy while leader Kim Jong Un urged his troops to cut their windpipes. The 20-something leader has been seen looking increasingly warlike in recent pictures, posing next to tanks and guns, prompting speculation he is trying to project a hard man image to shore up his authority ahead of a possible new offensive. North Korea's army this week officially cancelled an armistice it signed with the South at the end of Korean War. The move makes it more likely that recent tensions, prompted by new sanctions as well as the joint military exercises which started yesterday, could bubble over into all-out warfare. Rodong Sinmun, the official newspaper of Kim's Workers' Party, quoted an 80-year-old veteran of the Korean War supposedly express the national mood. "I am still keeping a bullet that I failed to fire at a trench in the 1950s because the U.S. imperialists and their stooges signed an armistice agreement," he apparently said. "Send me to the trench. Give me a rifle. I want to rain bullets on the enemy to my heart's content." Kim himself issued a direct threat to the U.S. and South Korea over their long-scheduled drills on the Korean peninsula. As the saying goes, a guy who is fond of playing with fire is bound to perish in flames, he told troops. All the enemies quite often playing with fire in the sensitive hot spot should be thrown into a cauldron once I issue an order. Once an order is issued, you should break the waists of the crazy enemies, totally cut their windpipes and thus clearly show them what a real war is like. The leader's martial attitude in recent photographs is in stark contrast to the laid-back image he attempted to project during the recent visit of former basketball star Dennis Rodman to the pariah nation. Pictures from that visit showed him laughing along with his guest at a sports match and hosting the star at a lavish banquet. After the start of the military drills yesterday, South Korean officials said their northern counterparts did not answer to calls on a hotline between the sides, apparently following through on an earlier vow to cut the communication channel because of the drills. Pyongyang has launched a bombast-filled propaganda campaign against the drills, which involved 10,000 South Korean and about 3,000 American troops, and last week's vote to impose new sanctions over the North's February 12 nuclear test. Pyongyang isn't believed to be able to build a warhead small enough to mount on a long-range missile, and the North's military has repeatedly vowed in the past to scrap the 1953 armistice. North Korea wants a formal peace treaty, security guarantees and other concessions, as well as the removal of 28,500 U.S. troops stationed in South Korea. South Korean and U.S. officials have been closely monitoring Pyongyang's actions and parsing the torrent of recent rhetoric from the North, which has been more warlike than usual. North Korea regularly claims South Korea's U.S. drills are a preparation for invasion, but Pyongyang has signaled more worry about the drills that began Monday. The drills follow sanctions that the North says are the result of U.S. hostility aimed at toppling its political system. North Korea has also warned South Korea of a nuclear war on the divided peninsula and said it was canceling non-aggression pacts. Under newly inaugurated President Park Geun-hye, South Korea's defense ministry, which often brushes off North Korean threats, has looked to send a message of strength in response to the latest threats. The ministry warned on Friday that the North's government would evaporate from the face of the earth if it ever used a nuclear weapon. The White House also said the U.S. is fully capable of defending itself against the North Korean ballistic attack. North Korea has said the U.S. mainland is within a range of its long-range missiles, and an army general told a Pyongyang rally last week that the military is ready to fire a long-range nuclear-armed missile to turn Washington into a sea of fire. While outside scientists are still trying to determine specifics, the North's rocket test in December and third atomic bomb test last month may have pushed the country a step closer to acquiring the ability to hit the U.S. with weapons of mass destruction. Analysts, however, say Pyongyang is still years away from acquiring the smaller, lighter nuclear warheads needed for a credible nuclear missile program. But there are still worries about a smaller conflict. North Korea has a variety of missiles and other weapons capable of striking South Korea. In 2010, North Korea shelled a South Korean island and allegedly torpedoed the South Korean warship, killing the total of 50 South Koreans. Both incidents occurred near the disputed Western Sea boundary, a recurrent flashpoint between the Koreas that has seen 3 other bloody naval skirmishes since 1999. Kim Jong Un visited two islands just north of the sea boundary last week and ordered troops there to open fire immediately if a single enemy shell is fired on North Korean waters. Kim was also quoted as saying his military is fully ready to fight an all-out war and that he will order a just, great advance for national unification if the enemy makes even a slight provocation, according to the North's official Korean Central News Agency.